Good evening, America, and welcome to this special edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting to, as always, from Washington, D.C. My co-host, Amanda Head, well, she is out in the field covering President Trump at the White House inside the pool today, so you're going to fly solo with me. But we've got a lot to dive into. I promised you at the beginning of the year we would spend a lot of time educating you on what I believe is one of the most devastating and silent crimes in America. The reason it's silent is by the time you know you're a victim, you may already be hundreds of thousands of dollars upside down in debt, and you may not even own your home. That's exactly right. You know what this is? It's called title fraud. It's a crime the FBI calls house stealing. And if you own a home, you could already be at risk because the cyber criminals carrying this out, they want your most valuable asset, not your gold, not your crypto coins, not your checkbook. They want the equity in your home. Now, it's an amazing fact. Total U.S. home equity now stands at $32 trillion, and that makes it highly vulnerable to theft without proper protection. And it just takes one forged document filed at your local recorder's office, who, by the way, can't do anything about it, and suddenly someone else owns your home on paper. Now imagine finding out your home is no longer in your name, and scammers have taken out loans, drained your equity, and left you to deal with that fallout, that mess. It's not only homeowners, too. If you're looking to buy your own property, land, it could turn out you are buying it from someone who doesn't even own it. That's going on right now. Title pirates sending emails out asking potential buyers to buy land that they don't even own. County recorders across America have also begun to sound the alarm as the number of scams victimizing homeowners has been surging. In Portage County, Ohio, get a load of this. Just a few weeks ago, the county recorder expressed concern that most homeowners don't know how vulnerable they are. She described the end goal of home title thieves simply this way. They just really want cash. They're trying to get cash off your equity in your home. That is why we at Just the News have been partnering throughout this year with Home Title Lock, because they offer an exclusive $1 million triple lock protection, giving you 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts if there's ever any change on the paperwork, and if title fraud should ever occur, God forbid, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. That's a really good deal. We'll talk more about that throughout the show tonight. This evening, we're going to hear from former FBI agents, an Emmy Award-winning reporter and consumer advocate, as well as a former title thief who served 13 years in prison for this heinous crime. We also hear from a real victim of title theft. That's really important too. I want you to hear from the front lines what it feels like when you go through that horror. So stay with us throughout the hour. By the end of this hour, you're going to be a lot better informed and know a little bit more about how to protect your home and your equity before it's too late. Now, to get us started on this very busy night, we've got a great guest. He's an Emmy and multi-award winning news anchor and investigative reporter, a guy close to my heart. He's recently been spending a lot of his time researching this growing crime of home title theft, so you, the consumer, you, the homeowner, can be better protected. Joining us right now, my good friend, John Sommer. John, welcome back to the show.
John, so great to be with you as always. And yeah, this is a really important subject, and your lead into this really pretty much nailed it. This is a crime that is growing in leaps and bounds. You use the term title pirates, which I just love. You know, it's house stealing or deed theft. But title pirates pretty much describes it because it's such a stealth crime that most people don't know that they got hit until it's way too late.
Yeah, it is. And by that time, you have a lot of digging out to do. It's months. I talked to someone last week, almost 18 months before they could get right. They didn't have Home Title Lock. And so they had to go through the process of hiring a lawyer and going to court. It's really a painful process, and we want to make sure people avoid that. Now, I want to start with something that's the motive. So, all right, we're going to meet someone who did this for a time and went to prison for it, Matt Cox. But at the end of the day, you know, people think, well, I got my cash in the bank. I got to cover my ATM pin when I go put my PIN number in to get what kind of cash out of the bank. But the biggest, most lucrative thing we own is our home. It is the prize of prizes for a fraudster. And it seems like the cyber criminals are getting more and more anxious to tap that very big asset you own in your portfolio.
Yeah, most people, and especially right now with the stock market kind of going back and forth, and people are concerned about their investments in their 401k or whatever, or maybe gold or Bitcoin. But most people don't realize, John, that their biggest investment almost always is going to be in their home and their property. And they don't understand just how vulnerable they are to having that property stolen. And John, it isn't like they're stealing the structure of the home or whatever. They steal the deed or the title to the property. And they can do this very easily online right now, and with artificial intelligence, and you can get a notary stamp. It's so easy to do. And then once you have that property in your name, then you can leverage it. Sometimes they'll sell the property, but more than likely, they're going to take out loans or multiple loans. And you'll talk to Matt Cox. He was a past master at doing this, but it can be done by anybody, anywhere in the world. And there are criminal enterprises all around the world. I can find out anything about you or anybody, any of your listeners right now and viewers, and be able to take that title of that property. And it doesn't have to have a structure on it. It can be open land. Here on the Central Coast of California, our biggest problem, because I deal with the local district attorney's office, is stealing just open land. And because people aren't watching out for it, they don't pay attention to it. Or the cabin in the woods, or maybe you have an Airbnb. It's all up for grabs.
Yeah, no, it is remarkable. And you made mention something I think is really at the heart of why this crime has exploded, and that is our digital footprint is everywhere. Everything about us is out and open. That's the consequence of the internet era, of the digital age, social media age. So it doesn't take long for somebody to go find one of those deeds that are online, forge your signature because they found it somewhere else, and then submit it. And there's a real weak spot in this security system, because it turns out the county recorder, the person who'll get the deed, they have no power to say that's not you or stop. You're really kind of vulnerable, because the best person who can protect you has no legal power to stop the transaction, right?
You're absolutely right, John. Because if all the paperwork looks proper, if everything looks like it's accurate and there's a notary stamp on it and so on, they can't ask you if it might be fraudulent. They have to pass it, and they do. And there's no way to stop it from happening. And nowadays, it can even happen online. You don't even have to go down to the county clerk's office.
Yeah, no, it's just so easy for the criminal, and for us, unless you're checking every day. It isn't like you can send a letter saying, "Hey, county recorder, don't transfer my home to anyone unless I tell you." You have to check every day to see if someone's doing it. And no one has time, right? We're busy.
Nobody's going to do that, John. I mean,
and it's the only way, right?
Just don't have time to do it. Yeah. You have to have some sort of a system to be able to monitor that title or that deed to your property. And it's just simply not practical for you to be able to go down to the clerk's office. And even if you did, the minute that you leave, somebody can steal it. It can happen that fast, and it does.
Just crazy. It's really mind-numbing. The ingenuity and entrepreneurialism of these criminals is pretty impressive, but it comes at our expense. I want to turn to some real-life examples, because they're piling up. Every time I do a clip switch, search or a Google search, I see another case down, I think it was in Lehigh Valley, in Florida, right by the Tampa area. There was a woman, she ended up trying to grab 2 houses. I think she ultimately got convicted by a jury, but her mentality was finders keepers. If I get it, the homeowner's out of luck. That's the mentality.
I know
of
that
these criminals.
case. And she would just drive around, the area and look for properties that maybe somebody wasn't living in, even though they actually occupied the home, but they might have another home someplace else, and so they're not there watching over it. One of the ones that was most interesting in the Tampa Bay area is a couple there, Larry and Dreama Bilby.
Yeah.
And they bought a home, and they were doing a lot of construction on it. So they weren't living in the property at that particular point as they were doing all the renovation and so on. Somebody went in, they noticed that no one was there occupying it the whole time. And they stole the deed to the property and sold it to somebody else without the Bilbys even knowing it. And they had to go through the court system, John. This is the biggest problem, because you have to hire an attorney, and then you have to go through the court system, and we know how nasty that can be sometimes. And it might take years to be able to reclaim what is actually your rightful property and your deed. And the only way to prevent that is to be able to have some sort of a system to be able to protect you, just like you would with a credit card, or maybe you have a Ring camera on your home so you can see who's coming and going and so on. But as we said before, for most people, this is their biggest asset. And most people don't even think about protecting it.
Yeah, the last time we talked about our titles, probably when we bought the house, and then we just move on. We don't think about it, but there's criminals thinking about it every day. Yeah, it's crazy. You mentioned security cameras, and I've seen a couple of recent stories where the first time a homeowner, maybe it was a vacation home if I remember correctly, the first time they realized they were in trouble was even before they got the notice of me. There were strange people walking around their property like they owned it. That's literally what could happen here, right? The people who buying it might not even know that they've been duped. So you've got the buyer and the person who owns the home both being victimized. The nature of these criminals and how crafty they are is kind of jaw-dropping.
Well, and that's just it, because the only victims aren't just the people that own the property.
Right.
It's the people that have been duped into buying the property because they think that it's free and clear. And now you bought a house, and then all of a sudden you find out that that was not the rightful owner that you bought it from in the first place. And then there's the banks, the loan companies, and all of these entities as well. That everybody is a victim. It's not just the owner of the property.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, you said the key, and this is exactly right. So what the cops and the prosecutors, the lawyers have all told us, is to have some form of a system that's constantly monitoring your title, alerts you, and jumps into action. You've been doing great consumer reporting for decades. You know how important it is to protect consumers. You've made lots of great journalism to make us smarter as consumers. Tell us a little bit, Title Lock, what does it do? How does it give us that peace of mind? What is it doing day in and day out that I don't have to worry about doing then?
Well, you mentioned a company, Home Title Lock, and they have a website, hometitlelock.com. Go on there. I mean, I encourage your followers to do their own due diligence and just go on the site, see the stories that are on there, understand that everybody that owns a piece of property is vulnerable. Yeah. And the only way that you're going to really secure that deed or that title to the property is to be able to have a system that, number one, monitors the property, which you can't practically do. No. Number two, alerts you if there's something fishy going on. And Home Title Lock will do. Hey, I got a great story, John. My wife and I just put our home up for sale. And last week I got an alert because I'm a member of Home Title Lock. And I thought, well, what the heck is this? You know, because our home is on the market. Well, what they alerted me to is that the property was put on the MLS, or the Multiple Listing Service. Oh, that's great. Now, that's not somebody stealing the property, but it's Home Title Lock alerting me to something that is going on with my property, my home. I was grateful for that because I didn't even think that they did this as part of the service. So they monitor, they alert. And then if for some reason that title gets transferred to somebody else, they will work with you to restore that title back to your proper name and avoid having to go through the court system, hiring an attorney, which can be extremely expensive. They will give you up to $1 million worth of service to be able to put that title back into your rightful name. It's an incredible company. They are the pioneers. They invented this system of monitoring, and I just encourage everyone to go onto the website and take a look at it and educate yourself to how big of a problem this is.
Yeah, they really are pioneers. One last question before we head out to the break. John, you've been watching this for some time. Every prosecutor I've talked to, every FBI agent I've talked to, every cop I've talked to said this is a trend line that's been going up. Any doubt in your mind it's just going to get more and more popular for the criminals to do?
So easy to do, John. And in fact, you're going to talk to Art Fitzenmeyer, who is a retired FBI agent. He'll tell you about this, as well as Matthew Cox, who spent some time in the big house because it was so easy to do. Yeah. And then I think you're also going to have a victim of this as well. So your viewers will have the length and breadth of what this crime is. Yeah. It is stealth, it's huge, and everybody should be aware of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's something I didn't even know existed a few years ago, but it is becoming more.
None of us did.
Yeah, it's so remarkable. John Sommer, you do such amazing work. You're a great journalist. Great opportunity to have you on the top of the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, John.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Always enjoy talking to a great reporter like you. All right, folks, after the break, we're going to get an interview with a man who used to commit this crime. He'll explain how he did it and how you can protect yourself. And by the way, how easy it is to victimize people. But while we're in the break, I want you to do me a favor. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and use our promo code JTN30. Here's what you're going to get. A free look at your title history report so you can see if your title is still in your name or if someone's already begun playing it. And when you sign up, you also receive a free extended 30-day trial of $1 million triple lock protection, which includes 24/7 monitoring of your home title, instant alerts if anything at all changes to your title, and if fraud should happen, God forbid, the U.S.-based experts at Home Title Lock will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no extra cost to you. Don't wait. Get peace of mind with a free title history report and 30 days of free protection right now at HomeTitleLock.com. That's HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code JTN30. We'll be right back. Welcome back, America, to this special Just the News report. We are taking a deep dive into the crime of title theft, and joining us to discuss more about that is someone who used to commit this crime. He's now reformed, and he's now leading all of us to a better understanding of how it's done. Our good friend, Matthew Cox. Matthew, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You, I think, spent about 13 years in prison. You did about $55 million of this sort of home title theft. I thought it was pretty easy for you, right, to pull this off. Most people were pretty unsuspecting, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was extremely easy crime to commit.
Yeah. And you're gone. By the time someone like me finds out my house has been stolen from me, my paperwork's been changed, my equity's gone, you're in some other county, some other country by the time, right?
Yeah. By the time the homeowner is notified, I've already cleared the bank accounts and I'm in another state, or like you said, maybe I'm on vacation in another country.
Yeah.
Probably on to my next, victim.
Yeah. That's the amazing thing about it. The gap from the time a victim knows that they've been victimized is so long that the bad guys are way down the road. I want to talk a little bit about the reasons why this has grown so much, particularly in the last decade. I guess the digital era brings us a lot of conveniences, but it also brings those conveniences to cyber thieves. All of our records are online now, so it's just easier to assume someone's identity, right?
Yes. Much easier now than when I was doing it 20 years ago. And access to public records, not only people's personal information, but public records is much more accessible now, because now I can go sit in my local coffee shop and use their Wi-Fi, and I can go online and search titles. Whereas 20 years ago, I had to physically go downtown to public records. I had to go into the building. I had to go into the office and search those records, in person. You're on video camera. I mean, those are all vulnerable situations. But now I can order a vanilla latte and search the records and create a warranty deed or whatever documents I need to create to steal a home or transfer the title. And I can do it right in the coffee shop.
It's pretty amazing. Just thinking that of how easy it is and convenient, and it really does scare you. I want to go through some of the misconceptions that people have, because a lot of people think, well, I don't have this problem. I bought title insurance when I bought my house. Title insurance doesn't protect you the moment the title's been transferred to you, right?
Right. So title insurance covers you up to the moment you purchase your house. All title insurance is saying is, hey, there are no liens on your home other than maybe the mortgage that you're taking out from your bank, that you have a clean lien. So let's say 2 days later, I can go downtown and I can file a transfer. I can transfer your title, create a new title, or I could satisfy the mortgage on your house. There's a number of things I can do. And unless your title's being monitored, you're not notified of those things.
Yeah.
So you're and just like you said, which from a title thief's perspective that's a great piece of misinformation, where people think, oh, well, I've got insurance on my title. No, you don't have insurance on your title.
Yeah.
So as a result, they feel safe, right? You walk out of the title company, you feel safe.
Yeah. The sugar.
You're not
the
safe.
sugar
It's
pill
like you're driving
phenomenon.
around in a vehicle that has no insurance on it.
Yeah, no, that's such a great point. Yeah, fake feeling of security, the sugar pill phenomenon, as they called it. All right, walk us through, because you were in the real estate industry, which allowed you to kind of carouse around and find the perfect victim every time. When you're driving around saying, I think I might do that house, walk us through how you would process what sort of house you were looking for and how you would carry it out.
So if the house, it's funny. I've worked with a home title lock, and we had shot a commercial one time, and we were driving through a neighborhood. They were like, "Which neighborhood?" I was like, "Pick a neighborhood. If the houses are livable, then they're absolutely vulnerable to this crime. I could drive through your neighborhood, any middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class neighborhood, and I could drive through that neighborhood and I could find a house, write the address down. House looks like it's in good shape. I can then turn around and go online. I can find the title to that house. I can see if there's any liens on the house. I can see if there's any, such as a mortgage. I can then create a satisfaction of mortgage, satisfy the mortgage. So I've now created the equity in the house.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, well, wait a second, I have a mortgage, so I have a mortgage. My house is worth $400,000. I have a mortgage for $390,000. I don't have any equity. I'll create the equity. I'll file a one-page document called a satisfaction of mortgage or a release of lien, get it notarized with a fake notary, file that satisfaction, and that mortgage disappears as far as public records is concerned. I can then either create a fake driver's license or identification card in the homeowner's name, and I can borrow against that property, or I can simply create a new warranty deed and file that in public records, which takes the title out of the true homeowner's name, places it into whatever identity's name I want. Could be a synthetic identity, could be a stolen identity.
Right.
And then I could put that house on the market and sell it, or I could try and sell it myself. I could actually get someone from, let's say, a real estate agent, have them list it, or I could list it myself. And then I can sell that property. There are actually companies right now online that will buy your house unseen. They send out what's called an appraiser that does it's a field appraiser where they basically do what's called a drive-by appraisal. They'll simply look at the outside of the house. They'll give you kind of a lowball offer. But myself as a home title thief, I don't care if they're giving me a lowball offer. If they're saying, "Hey, house is worth $400,000, we're going to give you $360,000. Is that okay with you?" Of course it's okay with me.
Yeah, it's all free money for you, right? Yeah.
Right. Think about it too. I can go online, I can open a bank account, I can close the loans or the mortgages online. Most states allow you to do a remote closing. So it's with a remote notary.
Jeez.
So I can go online. I don't even have to go to the title company. I then give them my wiring instructions, have them wire the funds from the title company's account into the bank account of my choosing. I then just have to transfer that money again or remove the money. I could buy Bitcoin. I could buy any number of precious metals. There's many ways to launder money.
Yeah.
So it's so easy. And the thing about it is that everybody involved in these transactions is doing what they do on a daily basis. So I'm not asking anybody to do anything special for me.
Right.
I'm not asking the title company to do, can you do this special thing, or can you break the law or bend the law? No, everybody's just doing what they do.
That's amazing.
They don't think anything's wrong.
Yeah, it's the perfect crime. It really is. If you're a criminal, the process is just perfectly set up for you to succeed and be gone before anyone knows that the scam is occurred. I want to talk about one area. We haven't talked about this before, but I'm seeing a lot more of us have second homes, or they're renting them out on Airbnb or VRBO. That sort of home, does that sort of increase your vulnerability if you're renting your home out a lot?
It certainly makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier. Not that a normal homeowner isn't in jeopardy, because they certainly are.
Yeah.
But if you have an Airbnb or you have a rental property, then it's much easier for me, because I can really do a lot more with that property. For instance, if it's an Airbnb and I rent the Airbnb for 2 weeks, I can now sell that property multiple times, or I could borrow multiple mortgages on the property, and I can get a lot more of a percentage of the home. If the house is worth 400,000, I could probably get a loan for close to 400,000, and I can get that loan from multiple banks because I'm now in possession of the home, and it means that the bank themselves can order an appraisal, and I can let that appraiser into the house to walk around the house.
Wow.
And I've gotten up to 6 mortgages on a home before. So I've literally
On a single
borrowed
home?
a single home because
Jeez.
once again, public records is this messed up.
Yeah.
They will simply allow you to continue to record mortgages on a home, and there's nobody in public records that's saying, this doesn't look right. Like that, nobody's saying, wait a second, there's 6 first mortgages or 6 mortgages on this house. Nobody's doing that. They simply record the documents. If it's notarized and signed by an employee of the bank, they record the documents. They can't not record it. They have to by law.
Yeah, we've had a couple of the clerks and they're like, we're just powerless. We'd love to stop it, but we're powerless. We just have to process it. It's quite remarkable. Now, we only got a few seconds left. If Home Title Lock had been on the homes that you were hitting back in the day, you would have been thwarted pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, that I would say home title lock would be an absolute the worst nightmare for a title thief.
Yeah.
Because the homeowner gets notified, and now I can be arrested in the middle of the crime. I don't have the time that I'm relying on and the anonymity that I'm relying on, because now the homeowner and law enforcement are looking for me. They know what's happening. Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's someone like myself's worst nightmare.
Real-time alert is the key to stopping this crime. Matthew Cox, I'm so glad. You're one of the most entrepreneurial people I've ever met. I'm so glad you're using your entrepreneurialism to help protect us now. What a great interview, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great conversation as always, my friend. All right, folks, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after a few messages. But while we're doing that, do me a favor. Go to HometitleLock.com right now. Use our promo code JTN30. You're going to get a free look at your title history report so you can see if your title is still in your name. And when you sign up, you're already going to receive a free extended 30-day trial of that $1 million triple lock protection, which includes 24/7 monitoring of your home title, right? Instant alerts if anything's about to happen. No Matt Cox is going to be able to hit you because you're going to know right away. And if fraud happens, the U.S.-based experts at Home Title Lock will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud, restore your title, get your peace of mind right back, and it's going to be no cost to you. So don't wait. Get that peace of mind with a free title history report and 30 days of free protection now at HometitleLock.com. Promo code JTN30. We'll be right back. Welcome back, America, to a very special edition of Just the News, No Noise. We're taking a look at the crime of home title theft. We want to make sure everybody who watches this show is educated. The FBI calls it house stealing, and who better to break down how law enforcement deals with it than a former FBI agent himself, our good friend, Art Fitzenmeyer joins us now. Art, welcome back to the show.
John, it's great to be back, and listening to you, I don't know if you need me anymore. You've got this figured out. I hope your viewers listen to you as well as listen to us.
Well, we're so blessed to have people with your experience and the great work you've done serving your country over these many decades. This is an old crime, right? It was back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but it was harder to do back then. Then all of a sudden we moved to the digital era, and cyber criminals, man, it's like one of the easiest crimes to pull off, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've been with Home Title Lock now. I'm in my 9th year, but I experienced in my early career as an FBI agent, actually, I hate to tell you, it was back in the 1970s in Chicago. There were early versions of stealing homes, mostly from the elderly. And so when I saw this company, the first thing I thought of was, number one, I'm vulnerable. And so when I talked to them, I told them I wanted to do one thing. One, I wanted to be part of the company. And number two, I wanted to get the word out that everybody who owns a house has a problem if they do not watch the equity in their home. And if they don't do it, nobody's going to do it for them. And that's why I think Home Title Lock is so important. They don't understand that in this day and age with AI and photoshopping, any competent digital thief can download a copy of their title or their deed, and it's so simple to forge a new one and file it in the county recorder's office. The county recorder has to file the document if it's presented and filled out. They're required by law to do that. So it's easy for them to get into a position where they can take out loans on your house. And once that happens, then you're in a world of hurt. I've seen people that have had to fight this on their own because they were not aware of it until after the money was missing.
Wow.
They'd have to hire an attorney. And this happened early on in my experience here at Home Title Lock. A family on the West Coast, their house title got forged. They lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. They had to hire an attorney to go to court. Took them over 2 years to finally be heard by a judge. The judge finally ordered the house back in their name, but it cost them so much in attorney's fees that they had to sell the house to pay their attorney. I mean, that's how crazy it gets. You just don't understand. If you don't watch it, nobody else is going to do it for you. And that's what Home Title Lock does. Listen, we have the most sophisticated software out there, as far as I'm concerned. We're probably the biggest in the field as well. But our software will watch your title in a national database 24/7. There's no day off. If you go on vacation, we're still going to watch it for you.
Yeah.
And with our $1 million triple lock protection, if for some reason something touches your title, our restoration people, these are great people, by the way, they're all platinum quality as far as I'm concerned. They will work with you and we'll spend up to $1 million to put that title back in your name. And that's a comfort that you can't possibly buy, do it yourself. It just doesn't work that way. So if you
simple.
go to HometitleLock.com and you sign up right now, you're going to get a copy of your title. You'll know that the title is pure, that it's in the name it's supposed to be in, whether it's your name or in a trust name. That's what it's all about. And then our software will watch it and we'll notify you immediately if there's an issue. Now, if you've done something like a home equity loan or something like that, we'll notify you that as well. Anything that touches your title, you're going to hear from us about it. And then you'll be told if you don't recognize the document, then you should call us right away.
That's
and
right.
we will step into it and we'll make you whole. It's really that simple. And it's for pennies a day. I mean, when I look at all of the stuff that's going on now, there's recently an article by the FBI in Boston about New England.
Yeah.
And they cover, I think, Massachusetts, New Hampshire,
Connecticut.
Vermont, and Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And they have had an outbreak, actually, of title theft. They can't tell you exactly how many, quite frankly, because it's all covered in a general category known as mortgage theft.
Right.
And so, in fact, I talked to them yesterday. They can't give me an exact number, but they're telling you it's on the upswing. And this is today, not last week or last year. It's going on now. And so people need to understand that as they're going to bed tonight, they'll sleep better if they know we're watching their most important asset, their property. We will do it for pennies a day, and you will be surprised that how comfortable you're going to feel when you have this little bit of surety in your life. People years ago, I encouraged and got involved in a situation where there was a family that their house burned down. They had fire coverage, and the guy next door said, "Yeah," he said, "I had most of my equity stolen," and I said to the guy whose house was stolen or burned, I said, "What would you feel better? Would your coverage company called you the night before and said, 'Look, that towel on your stove is going to catch fire and cause a grease fire and burn your house down'? Wouldn't it have been nice to get that notice?" And the guy next door, if he had Home Title Lock, he'd have gotten that notice. We will tell you right away if something disturbs your title in any way, shape, or form. We would have been able to stop him from having that problem. So, it's one of those things where it's a degree of the exposure that you have, and your exposure is diminished pretty much zero if you have home title lock. And even if nothing touches your title, you know we're there. But if something does touch your title, that's when it's really special.
That's right.
Because our restoration people will make you whole again almost overnight. I mean, they're that good at it. And we do this all the time. We are the experts.
Up to $1 million trying to help a single person get their home back. That's such an amazing thing. You said something very profound, Art, and that is that if you own a home, you have a problem. You have an Achilles heel. If you don't have home title lock, it's not worth taking the risk. You don't want to be that guy after the fire, and the fire in your case is your home theft. It's such an important thing to remember. Art, you've served your country for a very long time, and I want to thank you for that great service at the FBI and also for helping us understand this crime and get us better protected. We sure appreciate it.
Well, thank you, because you're a good advocate for the homeowner, not us.
Yeah.
I mean, the homeowner needs to listen to you. Your viewers better pay attention, because you're telling them something that if they don't know, it's about time they figured it out.
No,
So they should go to HometitleLock.com right now. John Solomon sends you today.
Art, that is great. Your wisdom is profound. We love you a lot. Thanks for joining us today. Good to have you back on. All right,
Thanks,
folks, we've heard from a lot today, right? You've heard from an investigative journalist, a guy who used to commit this crime, an FBI agent who used to solve these crimes. Next, you're going to hear the story of a real victim of title fraud, someone who actually went through the process. Find out how Home Title Lock helped her. We'll be right back after these messages.
I decided, actually, I'm going to put home title lock on my mom's home. 4 months or so after she passed, I got a notification from Home Title Lock. It notified me that there had been a change to the deed. That's why we acted so quickly and got it straightened out.
Let my dad know that somebody had stolen your property. He advised me that he had taken out Home Title Lock about 8 months earlier. We logged into Home Title Lock. He had 5 alerts. Immediately we contacted them, and within about 2 weeks, the deed was put back in my parents' name. A lot of people own property. Home title theft will happen to somebody. Don't let it be you.
Wow, real people talking about what happened when they went to Home Title Lock and got their home or their loved one's home protected. That's important. If you've got an elderly relative, this is a great way to help protect them. Welcome back to this special edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm John Solomon. Tonight we're partnering with Home Title Lock, one of our great friends, to put the spotlight on one of the fastest growing crimes in America. The FBI calls it house stealing. It's better known as title fraud in the legal profession. We're about to bring on a real victim of this crime. Joining us now, Jennifer Washington. Jennifer, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is a really important story because I think this is a trend line we're seeing in the crime itself. How did you find out one of your homes wasn't suddenly legally yours anymore?
Well, in dealing with the postal mailing, I received mailings for new ownership. And at first I'm like, okay, no big, nothing to be alarmed about. But then they continued. And then I also received notification from a company asking me to pay for a copy of the new title in the new home ownership. So that's what alerted me to begin with.
Wow. So before that, there was no sign, right? No one at your door, no notification from the county or police. You just get something in the mail saying, hey, congratulations, someone else owns your home, right?
Correct.
Oh,
and I started getting notifications of, like the mailers that say new residents,
Yeah.
and then it had names on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not correct. So I decided to look further into it.
My goodness. All right, that moment you get that notification, I can't imagine. You get that gut suspicious feeling. You know something's not right. What are you feeling at that moment? What's your next step?
Well, I was caught off guard. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know if it was some type of error or if something really had happened.
Yeah.
But then I actually called the county recorder's office, and they notified me of the change.
Wow.
So then I went on the website. I also seen it. I went over to the office and I actually paid for the title transfer, and it was a quick claim deed that was done. So at that point, I asked the recorder, what type of protections do they have against fraud, because this was incorrect. this was never done, it was fraudulent.
And here's the one thing I think most people don't know. That county recorder, even if they want to help you, they can't help you. They have no legal power to give you back your house or your title, right? You're stuck with them.
I definitely said it's not their responsibility to investigate fraud.
Yeah.
So it was my burden to bear at that point.
That is a burden. All right. So what do you do next? Walk us through the journey of how you got your house back eventually.
Well, in dealing with the bills, I did notice that the home title lock. So I called them. I Googled them to see what their company was because I had no idea what it was. And this all comes from taking over the bills for the family home due to the family. So I wasn't for sure what I was looking at. But then once I called them, they explained what their company provided. And I advised them, hey, I was dealing with the situation, exactly what they protect consumers from. I had advised them that there had been a quitclaim deed done fraudulently on the family home. And they gave it to the appropriate department, took off from that point on.
Amazing. Boy, so you go from first having that feeling in the pit of your stomach, I just lost my home, something bad's happened to me. Then you discover that because of a relative, you had some of the home title lock protection. That's got to be quite a whipsaw you're going through.
Well, still at that point, I was nervous because I didn't have any information on the company.
Wow.
And I knew between all of the existing family members, we did not have the money to deal with this in a court setting. I know it would have taken attorneys and, time and just months on end to fight something like this on your own.
Yeah. And then you get the house back. Home title lock comes through exactly as advertised, right?
They came back. I had no attorney's fees. They notified me step by step the process. They hired an attorney. The attorney took care of it. I couldn't recommend a better company in this situation.
Yeah, so important. If you're someone sitting tonight and you haven't checked your title in a long time, you don't have home title lock insurance, or you have an elderly person that you care for and you love and they put their whole life into having that dream home, what would you tell them to do tonight?
Well, if you have the time to constantly monitor your title, but in today's society, you're dealing with the home, the kids, the family, life's situations.
Yep.
So if you're in a situation where you're not able to monitor that, Home Title Lock can do it for you for a very small monthly fee.
Yeah, and that burglar, that cyber criminal, they're counting on that you are too busy to not check your title. That's why Home Title Lock fills the gap for us. What a great conversation, Jennifer. Your story is amazing. It's inspiring for people. You just don't want to wake up one day and be in the circumstance that you found yourself in. Great to have you on the show again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, love the conversation. So great. All right, folks. What an amazing conversation. Someone who really went through it. The real thing. Didn't know they even had it, the insurance protection when they began, but that's what Home Title Lock does for you. All right, we're going to take one more break. I have one more conversation to go, but before you do that, I got a little bit of homework assignment for you. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and get that peace of mind with a free title history report and 30 days of free protection now. You go to HomeTitleLock.com. You can use a very special promo code. We have JTN30. You can also put your camera at that QR code. That'll get you going. But one more time, HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code JTN30. Go do it during the commercial break. Don't give yourself a moment's more torment. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back, America. Just a few more minutes left before we head into the weekend. You've heard some testimonials about Home Title Lock and how it can protect your home from the crime of home title theft. And who better to talk more about that than the title theft education expert from Home Title Lock. She's one of our good friends, Natalie Dominguez. Natalie, welcome back.
Hi, John. Always great to be with you guys.
We love this conversation because I know somewhere tonight someone's going to get protected and it's going to make a difference. And that's why we do this special. It's very exciting for us. I think one of the things that I'm struck by, and a lot of people I think don't realize, if you don't have this protection, you don't have this service, and your home is suddenly pulled out from under you and your equity is taken, it is really difficult to go back and do it. We're talking months and maybe even years, correct?
Absolutely. I feel like a majority of the stories, part of my job is to make sure that I'm up to date with the news. We know what's going on. We know what to look for, protect against. Almost every story I see, restoration can take years versus months, right? And that's why we do what we do at Home Title Lock. We have a network of legal experts around the country. Every state, every municipality has different rules and laws and ways that you go about handling restoration. And every case can be so different, right? It can be just someone steals your title. It can be that they sold the home, that they have already gone through wire transfers, that the bank is coming after the homeowner. We've even seen homeowners lose their homes to the bank because the bank has, frankly, better lawyers. And it's very, very sad. So that's why we do what we do.
Boy, that is disheartening to hear. We have a repertoire of things that we do already to protect our home. We got the home security system. You got your fire and prevention loss insurance. You've got your hurricane insurance if you live in Florida, earthquake insurance if you live in California. A lot of people don't realize, and I think they thought maybe when I bought my title insurance, when I bought my house, I'm protected. But without that, this crime is completely unprotected, right? Without a Home Title Lock, you don't really have a way of protecting yourself unless you get to call the county clerk every single day, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's the hard part about the misconception about title insurance, right? And we're not insurance. We aren't going to just, throw some money at you and say, okay, you're on your own. The best part about our system, in my personal opinion, is our restoration. We are the proprietary makers of the software, but we really are the only company that does restoration. We are with the homeowner every step of the way, taking care of it for them, getting the home back in their name, fighting the good fight so that the homeowner isn't on their own. Because if they are on their own, they're spending their money on legal fees.
Yep.
We've seen news stories where people can't even do that because they can't afford the legal fees. They're going through years and years of litigation with their own personal life going on. They're getting sued by other companies, and it's this really scary thing of being on your own, especially if you are more vulnerable. If you're an elderly, person living on your own, you don't have people to fight for you, and a caretaker, takes advantage of you. If you just don't have family or friends to count on, we want to make sure that people are not on their own. And one of the most important things too about our monitoring system is we monitor the property, not the person. For things like security cameras, you got eyes on the home. For alarm systems, you're watching to see if someone's going to try to break into your home. No one's watching their title. No one's going down to the county office once a week and looking to make sure their title is still there. And some counties across the country do have their own kind of monitoring systems, but it's less than 10% of the United States. Not every county, not every town has one. We monitor everyone and anyone that is a property, right? To make sure that they are taken care of.
Land, home. Today, Matt Cox brought something in that I hadn't heard before, but you see a lot more people renting out their home part of the year, maybe with an Airbnb or VRBO. Those people are even more vulnerable. You've got these all covered, don't you?
Yep, absolutely. If you are a property, if you are a property, if you have a property, we monitor the property, whether it's vacant land, whether you have multiple residences on the property, whether it's under a trust and not under your name. It doesn't matter. If it's a property and it has a personal number, we can monitor.
Yeah, so very important. And time to detection, that's another thing we heard from Art. The quicker you detect it, the quicker you get this back. That's the key element to what you guys do. You're on top of it. The second that notification occurs, we're already in the protection business. That's so important. Natalie, I want to thank you for the partnership, all the great people you make available for these conversations, yourself included. This is a really important education process. We're so lucky to have this partnership with Home Title Lock. One more time, folks, go to Home Title Lock before you start your weekend, HometitleLock.com, and use the promo code JTN30. You're going to get a free look at your title history reports. You can see if your title is in your name. When you sign up, you also receive a free extended 30-day trial of the $1 Million Triple Lock Protection. That's a great deal. Go check it out. 24/7 monitoring, instant alerts, and if fraud ever happens, their U.S.-based experts at Home Title Lock are going to spend up to $1 million to get the fraud fixed and get your home back in your hands. That's important. Don't wait. Get the peace of mind you deserve. HometitleLock.com, promo code JTN30. With that, I'm going to send you off into the week. God bless. We'll see you on Monday.